What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is yours truly, Fitz. Please, if you haven't done so already, vote in the poll that I put in the community section of the channel. It's whether or not I should do a video going over the dark side of Pokemon Go. And I'll just give you a little hint, it is not about spoofing. So I'm not gonna shed any further details. So far, the poll's looking pretty good, but if you haven't voted already, make sure you do so. Now let's go into Giratina, the origin form. It's coming in a couple days. The altered form is only going to be out for like 3-5 days, something like that. It's not actually that long. But the origin form is the form you guys should be excited for. I mean, look at these stats. 3683 max CP, that's up there. 225 attack, that's nothing to scoff at. 187 defense is mediocre, but that 284 stamina is absolutely insane. That's up there with like Snorlax, for example. I think Snorlax is close to 300, something like that. Let's go ahead and look at the weaknesses real quick. Just to refresh your memory, it's weak to Dark, Dragon, Fairy, Ghost, and Ice. It like quad resists fighting in normal, and then it resists Bug, Electric, Fire, Grass, Poison, and Water. But the moves is where it gets interesting. It has access to Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball. Now, I'm not going to do any spoilers right now because we're actually going to get into the TDO and how powerful Origin Form Giratina is. But also check this out. You can run Dragon Tail and Dragon Pulse. Very interesting. So right away, the PvP form, like for PvP, Origin Form Giratina is going to be a monster. I would run Shadow Claw with Shadow Ball. And your second move, I've already been reading some things on the social media. Second move would probably be Ominous Wind, because what you do is use Shadow Claw to build Ominous Wind and Shadow Ball. Use Ominous Wind to bait shields, and then charge up Shadow Ball to one-hit KO. Assuming that you're doing neutral damage or super effective damage, that is. So it's a 1-2 punch. Dragon Pulse just takes too long to power up. Shadow Ball actually powers up a lot faster than Dragon Pulse. And then in terms of like just having a good dragon attacker and maybe some raids, if you don't have very many of those, Dragon Tail and Dragon Pulse will be pretty good to use as well. But for PvP goes, Ultra League or Master League, it's going to be a beast. Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball, Ominous Wind. So I hope that cleared some things up for you guys, wondering how well it'd perform in PvP. Now, let's get into the bread and butter. Pokemon Go, DPS, and TDO compare. Who is the king of total damage output? Well, it used to be Kyogre there for... Kyogre came in at 926.41, so 926.41 TDO. It was better than Mewtwo. For those that didn't realize it, Mewtwo actually had less TDO than Kyogre. Kyogre's stats are just ridiculous. Mewtwo's a little squishy. It has the highest attack in all of Pokemon Go, but its squishiness brought down its total damage output because it can't last as long as Kyogre in a neutral matchup. And these are neutral matchups, by the way, which should be taken into consideration for total damage output anyway. Now, let's go ahead and look at Gengar. It's a ghost, Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball. There we go. 510, a measly 510. Groudon's a beast, 800. Palkia's edged out Kyogre, but I'm already ruining it. Look at Origin Form Giratina with Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball. It is officially the strongest Pokemon in the game. It is king in a neutral matchup. It is the best neutral Pokemon you could use in any type of neutral damage situation. 1020.06 TDO. That blows the second best TDO Pokemon out of the water, Dialga, 965.30. That's absolutely insane. Now, there's something else that we can take out of this as well. It's kind of interesting to note, the DPS on Origin Form Giratina is kind of low compared to some others. Like, look at Gengar. DPS is pretty high. Palkia's DPS is pretty high, giving it a total overall of almost 8,000. But Origin Form Giratina is only 5,000. So what's interesting is Origin Form Giratina in a neutral matchup is going to do a lot of damage, but it's going to actually faint a little bit quicker than you would think as opposed to Palkia. And if we just go ahead and click on Palkia, we might be able to know why. Well, it's because Palkia's defense is pretty high, but stamina is kind of low. It has a lot to do with its attack as well. 280 is pretty darn good. Origin Form Giratina, only 225. Remember, if we go back here, its attack stat was only 225. There's a big difference between 225 and 280, which means bringing in the DPS, and it's gone. Great. bringing in the DPS for Palkia, being higher and doing more over time does make sense, but its total damage output over time is not as good as Origin Form Giratina. So there you guys have it. Origin Form Giratina is a monster. I do not know why this reset, but that's unfortunate. It's a monster, absolutely. That 10-20 TDO is absolutely ridiculous. This is one of the strongest, if not the strongest Pokemon in the game, because it can survive and deal insane stab damage with Dragon Claw and Shadow Ball. So make sure you go out, try to get a good one of these. It's going to be a good Pokemon for a lot of good situations going forward, especially with the Ghost moves doing super effective damage. I do believe it's to, let's see here, Psychic types, yes, Psychic types, and other Ghost types as well, so like Chandelure is coming, and Gen 5, Gen 6, can't remember. That's a very powerful Pokemon. We could see it in raids, stuff like that. So this is a very good Pokemon. Make sure you cop a good one. That's it with the video, guys. Make sure you smash that like button. Comment down below, how excited are you for Giratina Origin Form? Were you surprised that it's as much of a beast as you thought it was going to be? I certainly was, and I had a feeling that it was going to be the best TDO Pokemon in Pokemon Go. Subscribe if you hadn't done so already. I'll see you guys in the next Pokemon Go video.